Hello, very good evening to you. Welcome to Tuesday night's calendar.
Hello, thanks for joining us. Here are tonight's main stories.
Yorkshire victims of the Post Office Horizon scandal watch as almost 3 years of public inquiry testimony comes to a close.
Now this next step is about what happened, why it happened and who it happened to, but also those people that made it happen. They're going to have to answer those questions and I can't wait for that.
Open the door now!
South Yorkshire Police crack down on suspected drink drivers, including this one.
Suspect OPL at this time. There is a child in this car.
Why some people needing temporary accommodation are having to choose between their pets and a roof over their heads.
The weather's not very festive out there tonight. Mild and windy warnings in place for the Pennines by dawn. All the detail a little later on. And
coming up on calendar, I'll be bringing some Christmas cheer from Pinderfields in Wakefield. Way!
First tonight, the inquiry into the Post Office Horizon scandal, which started in February 2022, concluded this afternoon to applause from some of the scandal's victims.
Between 1999 and 2015, hundreds of post office staff were wrongly prosecuted after Fujitsu's faulty Horizon IT system made it look like they were stealing money.
The inquiry has heard from nearly 300 witnesses and examined more than 270,000 documents. As it finished today, Lee Castleton, a former sub-postmaster from Scarborough, told our political correspondent Charanpreet Kaira he's ready to move on.
For 2 years, arriving here has meant reliving the worst moments of their lives. Today, as this inquiry comes to an end, they're a step closer to moving on.
Each time we move forward, each time it's a step towards the end of this whole process. It's been 20 years for me and I'm really looking forward to getting on with it. You know, life without the post office, life without the inquiry and life without everything else that goes with that is going to be wonderful. I just know it is.
In 2004, Lee Castleton was falsely accused of stealing money from his Bridlington post office. The ITV drama Mr. Bates versus the Post Office told the story of how he was bankrupted when the post office took him to court for crimes he didn't commit.
Accordingly, Mr. Castleton is ordered to pay all Post Office Limited's costs in the total sum of £321,000.
In their closing arguments, lawyers representing those he holds responsible issued a series of apologies while still sidestepping the blame.
I am very sorry that I was not able to find out what the inquiry has found out. I don't know today how much wasn't told to me.
The lawyer representing Paula Venables read the former Post Office CEO's own words, but qualified them with this.
Ms. Venables simply did not receive the information which she ought to have been given by her senior team.
Apologies too from those representing Fujitsu.
Fujitsu apologises for its role in the suffering of
and the Post Office.
Post Office recognises that its actions, as explored by this inquiry, have caused harm and suffering.
But they won't get the final word. Sir Wyn Williams, the inquiry's chair, is expected to publish his findings next year. That could pave the way for the police to bring criminal charges against those responsible for this scandal, almost 30 years after concerns were first raised.
The truth has been a long time coming and it's important that we see justice now. And that's important for the taxpayer, for the whole of the country. This has been on people's lips now for years and it's really important that justice is done.
So many people still haven't had compensation. Will the inquiry wrapping up speed that process along?
Well, no, because the inquiry are actually staying open to resitting, if required, to hear evidence about how the schemes are going. And it's important that everybody sees the end of this as quickly as possible.
This inquiry may be over, but the victims of the Post Office scandal know their fight for justice is not. Charanpreet Kaira, ITV News.
With Christmas just over a week away, police in Sheffield have been out on the roadside today testing motorists to see if they're over the drink driving limit. from the night before.
They're warning of the potential dangers of driving the following day with alcohol still in your system and want motorists to plan ahead.
It's all part of the Force's annual anti-drink drive campaign and a problem that's been on the increase nationally. Martin Fisher has the story.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Thank you. 0. All right, just take the tube out for me, please. Thank you.
A negative breath test, just what South Yorkshire Police hope will be the norm for drivers stopped and checked over the festive period. Today they were focusing on the morning after the night before, when alcohol can still be at dangerously high levels.
People could still be over the limit in the morning, so you need to give some serious thought if you're having a drink in the evening and you know you're going to be driving first thing in the morning, about stopping at the right time or not having too much. Because if you're still over the limit in the morning, you're still posing that risk to everybody else that's on the road.
During last year's campaign, not everyone got the message, with 27 people found to be driving with drugs in their system and 119 over the legal limit for alcohol.
Now, research has shown that 20% of people caught drink driving are caught the following day, and that's a figure that's been on the increase for the last decade. There's no way to increase the speed that the body processes alcohol, and whether you're over the limit in the first place depends on your age, weight, what you've had to eat, and metabolism.
And drivers not over the limit today back the Force's efforts.
Do you mind being stopped?
No, I think it's important that people get stopped. I don't think people should be worried about getting stopped. Equally, the police are doing their job. They've got to make sure that everybody's okay.
And it wasn't just roadside checks. Officer Nathan Warrilow on patrol, stopping this speeding car and checking for both drug and drink driving.
You can't be driving at that speed. You were going quick. You were going quicker than 30. You weren't doing 30. You were doing faster than 30.
No,
you were.
Nothing this time. But that's not always been the case, as this footage from the start of this year's campaign shows.
Open the door now!
The driver was 4 times over the limit, swerving across the M1 with a young child in the car.
Just imagine making that phone call in custody to your loved one, whether it's your husband, your wife, your mum or dad, and explaining what you've done and facing the consequences of that.
So with Christmas round the corner, the message from South Yorkshire Police couldn't be clearer. Martin Fisher, ITV News.
Some more news from around the region. A man has been given a double life sentence for murdering his 2 housemates during what was described as a brutal explosion of violence. Robert Jean, who's 47, repeatedly stabbed 65-year-old Khaja Raisoddin Mohammed and 53-year-old Abdullah Mirzad at the house they shared in Hilltop Mount in the Hare Hills area of Leeds. Police believe the killings in September last year may have been related to arguments over rent arrears. Jean will serve a minimum of 34 years.
So-called WASPs, Women Against State Pension Inequality, have been told that they will not receive compensation. The group, including many in our region, have been campaigning for payment for years. They say millions of women born in the 50s were not properly informed of the rise in state pension age to bring them into line with men. The Work and Pensions Secretary announced earlier that the government has rejected the Ombudsman's suggestion of a flat rate payout, partly because it would cost up to £10.5 billion.
Does she feel regret that she's led them up the garden path, that they might get some compensation? And while she's apologised for the government's part in the maladministration, will she apologise directly to her WASPy women in her constituency?
No doubt they will contact me, that I believe this is the fair and the right decision. We are committed to supporting the lives of 1950s born women, but we do not believe the Ombudsman's approach on injustice or remedy is the right way forward, and that's why we've taken this decision.
Now, the Dogs Trust in Leeds is spreading a bit of Christmas cheer by delivering parcels all over Yorkshire containing dog coats, bouncy balls and tasty treats to dog owners who've been made homeless.
Meanwhile, a charity that supports the pets of people sleeping rough is urging homeless shelters to give them a warm place to stay this festive season, as well as their owners.
Catherine Sainai has the story.
Having a pet provides comfort, companionship and love for many people. But for rough sleepers, it often proves as a barrier to finding shelter too. Currently, only 1 in 10 homeless shelters in the country allow pets. And for many vulnerable people, that means they would rather brave sleeping on the streets than be separated from their best friend. One woman who wanted to remain anonymous spent 2 years living in temporary accommodation with her Maltese.
She saved my life. Before I had her, I was so lonely. And then, getting her, I had a purpose, really. I could focus on her. She's always been there for me. And I'm her mum now, so I have to, do what I have to do to help us both survive. It meant everything to stay with her. If I didn't have her here, I would have stayed out on the streets because I couldn't give her up. She's my family.
That's why one charity is on a mission to encourage more shelters to open their doors to more pets.
You actually have really quite nice teeth for a Frenchie. Oh, sweetie.
Street Vets started off providing veterinary services for free in pop-up clinics around the country. But now they have expanded their work.
We support the pets, obviously, with free veterinary treatment. Food gets delivered to the hostel for them every month. They get all the pet essentials that they need. We put in a telemedicine platform, so if they need an urgent sort of video consult with a vet, they can get one. And we write all their policies and procedures, because that's another thing, health and safety and making sure everything is as it should be.
In this shelter, seeing a dog or two running around is not an unusual sight. In fact, along with the 2 dogs who live here permanently, one of the staff members also brings her dog in every day, who acts as a therapy dog for the residents.
It makes living here more normal, because people have dogs in real life, when they're living in their own properties. So therefore, by having dogs in the hostel, it probably makes it feel a little bit more like home.
This homeless charity in Sheffield provides meals for rough sleepers.
People who've really struggled to fit in, who have a dog with them, and that dog is their companion, day, night, whatever. And even moving into accommodation. Lots of people move into accommodation and are isolated. So having a pet with you in that accommodation changes that enormously.
It's hoped that with more shelters signing up for the scheme, people experiencing homelessness will no longer have to choose between sleeping rough and keeping their best friend. Catherine Tenai, ITV News.
Yeah, we don't want anyone or any pet to be homeless this Christmas, do we? Now then, you're watching Calendar, and still to come before 6:30.
Hey! Hiya! How you doing?
Cami helps spread some festive cheer, and why he's had the best phone call ever. Plus,
join me later in Filey to find out the fishy tale behind this unique Christmas tree.
And there's nothing wrong with a bit of cloud when it gives us fantastic sunrise and sunsets. More of your photos and, of course, the latest on those strong winds tonight a little later on.
Now, if you live with aches and pains, I wonder if you've ever been tempted to try acupuncture. It's something many people find beneficial and a good alternative to everyday medicine.
it can be a complex process and requires a lot of training. And now one practitioner from Doncaster has joined calls for trainees to undertake a minimum of 3,600 hours of training. Hannah Ludlow reports.
Holly Jo van der Velde is treating a patient at her acupuncture clinic in Doncaster. She did a 3-year degree in acupuncture and says it's gaining popularity.
We place sterile acupuncture needles in specific points to help the body into helping feel better, reduce pain. People are finding more alternative methods of healing for themselves, especially if they've been in pain or they may have had a condition and they've tried everything else, and then some people find it as a last resort.
But the rise in popularity can also be a cause for concern. Rachel Genner tried acupuncture after suffering debilitating migraines from the age of 12, but she suspects her practitioner wasn't trained to degree level.
I just assumed that she would have done a course that would have given her the skills and knowledge that she needed to do acupuncture. She put about 25 needles just in the top of my neck and the top of my shoulders, but they became really painful, and I said to her, I can't take it anymore, would you please take the needles out? And I just felt really poorly.
After her experience, Rachel decided to train as an acupuncturist at the Acupuncture Academy. It's one of 7 centres across the country which offer accredited courses under the British Acupuncture Council. Students here spend 3 years training with a minimum of 3,600 hours. But some practitioners elsewhere are treating patients with as few as 96 hours.
Our students know where's dangerous, where they need to avoid, and when to say, I can't do this, it's out of my scope. When we see people that have done short courses ourselves, and it really scares us to think that people are trusting somebody who's got very little knowledge on how to treat them the best they could be treated.
But those teaching shorter courses say their students are also trained to a high level.
Not all short courses are unsafe. Our course, there are stipulations to join it, and you have to be a chartered physio and a degree level. They're assessed and examined, and they're examined to be safe. So some short courses should be exempt from some of the statements that have been made.
The British Acupuncture Council is a voluntary regulated board backed by the NHS. It's calling on councils to highlight what qualifications an acupuncturist has when issuing them with a licence.
They don't help the public differentiate between different levels of training, and therefore you don't know if your practitioner who might be licensed maintains minimum standards of hygiene and can safely needle a patient and is a trusted healthcare practitioner.
The Department for Health and Social Care says it's currently considering next steps on professional regulation and will set these out in due course. Until then, people are being urged to do their research before signing up for treatment. Hannah Ludlow, ITV News.
Quite concerning that somebody might be let loose with a needle who's not done all the training that's required.
Have you had acupuncture, Sally?
I have had it in the past, yeah, and I've found it really useful.
Does it hurt?
No, it doesn't, and I don't like needles, but you don't really feel the needles. You just close your eyes and relax. There you go.
Oh,
Top
very
tip.
nice. Good. Well, that's very interesting to know. Thank you very much. Now then, a unique Christmas tree is lighting up the North Yorkshire coastal town of Filey.
Yes, it's called a Festive tree, and it's designed to celebrate Christmas and the town's fishing heritage. It's made up of the tools of a fisherman's trade.
Well, Katie Oscroft couldn't resist a trip to the seaside to see for herself. Here she is.
Well, Ian, there really is nothing like this for miles around. It looks lovely, but also it means so much to the town of Filey, because where that tree's standing back in the day would have been thronged with fishermen and their boats. But I'm joined now by Rex Harrison. Rex, you really are the last fisherman standing here now, aren't you?
The one fishing from Filey, yes.
And you've come from generations of your family. Now, just describe, you're one of the driving forces behind this tree, just describe what it's made up of.
It's made of crabs and lobster pots. There's about 140 on it, and there's about 1,600 lights.
It must have taken a lot of putting up.
2 days. Put the crab pots up and then the lights the next day.
Now, come January, the baubles on my tree, they'll be in a box and up in the attic. What happens to these?
The baubles will go into the attic same as yours, but the crab pots will go back into the sea.
So they're working crab pots, they're the real thing?
Yeah, the real thing, yeah.
Now, do you find that this is a link between the past, the fishing heritage of the past, and today? It's reminding people of what this town was once all about?
Well, when you think where we stood here, it was full of boats, and now there's just one. We don't know how long we'll be going for now, but it is part of the heritage of the town, or as it is.
And you grew up with fishing. Your grandfather, your father did it, so you know all about it. But the children of today, they didn't have that. So is this helping to remind them?
The children in Filey, they enjoy it. It's part of their Christmas thing. They do all the boards and everything. And they all come in. I've been to the schools and talked to them. They are interested in it still.
And does it help them learn about the past of this town?
Oh, without a doubt.
Now, you look at that there, it does look great, doesn't it, Rex? And that's your boat in the distance behind it. Are you quite proud of what you've done?
It set off as a bit of fun at the beginning. Now it's just grown into something that we didn't expect it to do, and it gets better every year.
Well, I know you've had hundreds of people already to see it, and thanks very much for joining us tonight, Rex. So if you've got time, there's still time to come to the seaside, wait until it goes dark to see this tree here. It really is worth it. It's a festive beacon which looks out over the town of Filey, but also, of course, it looks out over the sea.
Katie, thank you very much.
Katie.
I love a Christmas tree of any kind, and that's a very unique one, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I see you haven't disappointed tonight again. You're wearing
Still
something sparkly.
Yes, of course. And Kerry's with us, who's in festive mood, as we confirmed last night.
I've gone stars.
I love it. Now, you showed us some kinky isobars last night.
I did. It's not very festive out there overnight tonight. Do you know what? It's going to be about 14 by the time we get to tomorrow morning. It's really mild for the time of year. And I did mention the kink in the isobars, and the Met Office have issued just one of our lower tier warnings between 3 a.m. and 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon for 50 to 60 mile an hour gusts, difficult driving conditions and high routes. It's a west-south-westerly, so if you're over Transpennine routes, or certainly if you're travelling north to south on the A1 or the M1, it'll be pretty tricky for the first half of tomorw. But did you see the sunrise first thing this morning?
Oh, I've seen some stunning
photos. It's another cracker. It was
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful, yeah. So no one would ever argue that you don't need cloud in the sky, of course, and the more textured it is, the better. So this was from Darren. I mean, it's from a car park, but it was a stop you in your tracks kind of moment, wasn't it, first thing this morning? This was the River Ouse at Goole. Absolutely beautiful shot first thing. A big thank you to Brian. And also this one is from Colton in Leeds. A big thank you to Janice. Now, I've had to zoom in on 2 out of 3 of those photographs, so I'm not having a grump, but I just thought I'd do a little reminder about the very best type of photograph you could actually send me. 1920 by 1080 is basically high definition, and it's sort of telebox size. So if you send me a picture that's telebox size, then it kind of looks like that in my screen. So I've got a couple of examples. This one was taken this morning by James of his partner and his pooch. It looks absolutely glorious, but it looks like this if I zoom in, not quite as nice. And also this beautiful one by Claire of her pictures, which she's put Merry Christmas in the sand, but if I zoomed at full screen you can't see the Merry Christmas. So I hope that explains things, and it might explain why you have sent a photograph in and I've not shown it, but I try and zoom in and try and show as many as I can.
Good advice.
That's why you don't show any of mine.
Of course.
He'll learn eventually.
I mean, it's easy on your phone, isn't it, to do it the different way.
It is. And it tells you
sending them in.
Tells you the pixels as well on most phones, doesn't it?
It does
If
on
you
your
scroll
phone,
up,
you're
it'll
right.
tell you the
it does.
resolution. Thank you very much, Kerry. Very
You're
informative,
welcome. Full
as
forecast
always.
a bit later.
Can't wait. And finally from us tonight, he's a good friend of ours here at Calendar, and today Chris Kamara has been bringing cheer to patients and staff at Pinderfields Hospital in Wakefield.
Yes, along with Father Christmas and his elves, Cammy handed out chocolates to some of the children spending this festive period in hospital. There's also been some good cheer for him as well, as it's been revealed he's making a return to football broadcasting after illness forced him to step back from live TV.
Our Emma Hayward has been joining in the festivities in Wakefield.
Well, I'm inside the children's ward here at Pinderfield, and there's a lot of effort to make things festive, to make people's stay a lot nicer. And here, they're just about to get a visit from some very familiar faces.
Hey! Hiya! How you doing? Good.
Hello. Merry Christmas.
Oh, here's Santa. Hey, the big man. Little birdie tells me you play football as well.
Yeah,
Yeah? Who for?
Townville,
Ah, brilliant. What position?
left wing.
Oh, left wing, a left footer. You're gonna be brilliant, I know it.
I'll just interrupt and say, lovely to see you, Chris Kamara, in your
Oh,
finery.
Thank you, yeah. It's great, so gratifying going around the children's ward. It's one of the best days of the year.
I'll let you go and visit Jack, who's just around the corner.
Oh, well done, thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Have a good one. Merry Christmas.
Oh,
And you've been doing this a while, haven't you, Chris?
I have. This is our 5th year on the bound. Here's Jack. Hiya, Jack. How are you?
Hello,
You all right?
Jack.
Do you want some chocolate? Yeah, brilliant. There's
Merry
you.
Christmas.
And-
How are you?
I'm good.
Ah, brilliant. Who's this, Jack?
It's Mario in a penguin costume.
Mario in a penguin costume. It's come on a lot from when my kids were young, that's for sure. What do you want for Christmas?
I'm wanting probably a new headset because the one I have, it still needs some storage, and all the games I have on it are my favourites.
All right, Santa, can you get a new headset?
We'll have to look at the naughty and nice list.
He's on the nice list.
He's on the nice list, then definitely we could look at it.
Hey, not look at it, get it for him!
Well, Chris, we can't let you go without mentioning your return to broadcasting, can we?
No, it's amazing. I got the phone call yesterday would I work for Prime Video Sport with Jeff Stelling? And I said, unbelievable, Jeff, straight away, and said yes. I'm so looking forward to it. I thought I was finished, but I'm back! Way!
Well, congratulations, Chris, and thanks all
thank
for talking
you.
to us.
Oh, no,
and we better let this
thanks for
team
coming.
get back on with a very important job.
Aha, Cammie's back.
Oh, you can't keep a good man down, can you?
You certainly can't.
Thanks a lot to Emma there. Well, let's go back to Kerry now and get the full forecast.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello again. The weather's not that festive. It's mild and it's windy overnight tonight and through into tomorrow. Some gorgeous photos. Please keep them coming. But yes, definitely windy into Wednesday. We've got some rain by the end of tomorrow by dusk as well. It could be fairly steady for a time, giving 20 to 30 millimetres, and then colder by Thursday. So what's happening? We've got an area of low pressure to the north currently, and it's around that area of low pressure that we're getting those very strong to gale force winds over the Pennines overnight tonight and through into the first half of tomorrow. Then it becomes bright and blustery, but this area of low pressure will bring the rain as we head towards dusk, and then as that pushes away during the second half of Wednesday night, we are expecting the colder air to start to dig in from the northwest. So it's brighter on Thursday. We'll see a bit more in the way of sunshine, but definitely feeling or noticing the chillier conditions from that northerly quarter. So in a bit more detail then, overnight tonight, we've got showery outbreaks of rain working from west to east. There could be some heavy pulses, but the emphasis really on those very strong winds becoming strong to gale force over the Pennines into the early hours. Some hill fog for a time, but those winds lifting even the low cloud as we head towards dawn. And look at the temperatures. Those are 13 or 14 by the time we reach tomorrow morning. Really mild. The temperatures rising throughout the night. 8:21 and 3:46 are your sun times for tomorrow. It's a very windy start, particularly over the tops of the Pennines. Showery outbreaks of rain working eastwards. Brighter, blustery for the middle part of the day, and then cloud builds from the southwest, and that will bring a spell of rain for tomorrow evening. It's as that clears we get that northwesterly, a better day but colder day on Thursday.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
There you go, and it looks quite mild into the weekend as well, but quite windy, so nothing really festive in our weather.
Oh, we want some frost at least, don't we?
Oh, yeah, frost would be really nice.
It would be nice. See what you can do, Kelly.
I'll try and
sort
see
it
what I can
out.
Well, you two look very festive anyway. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Always. You need to get your festive on.
I've got the green tie on. What more do you want?
Good try. That's it from us. Bye-bye. Bye.